Mascarilla, bitch, I'm dying, Mascarilla.
Live Mascarilla, bitch, I'm dying, Mascarilla.
Yo, what up? It's Roger from the Mascarilla podcast. Today we're here with Brennan Savage.
Hello.
Brennan,
Good to be here.
right off the bat, what time do you normally wake up in the morning and or afternoon?
It varies. It depends on what I get into, I guess. But on average, like 3, 4.
Yeah, because we were supposed to do this podcast a week ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, man, it's 2 p.m. Good. I know you wake up late. And you were like, yeah, it's chill.
Yeah.
So I set up this whole room, waiting around 6:30. I get a text from Brennan. It's like, dude, my bad. I just woke up.
Yeah, that was a long night though. That was a little later than average.
Because I bring this up not to just make fun of you, but to also bring up the fact that you were jet lagged.
Yes.
You just got back from Europe.
Yes, I did.
Dude, what was that about?
It was fucking crazy, man. It was like an amazing experience. Taught me a lot. I learned a lot about not only like my career and whatnot, but like what I actually want to do. Like how I learned a lot about how I'm going to move forward and progress and what I need to do to get to the level I want to be at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a training experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just like, yeah, it was crazy. It was mind blowing. It just like changed my whole perspective on everything.
Because how long was that tour?
A full month.
30 days.
Yeah, like 29 days or something.
And it was Europe and Russia?
Europe and Russia and Ukraine.
And before that, you still haven't really done like a proper headlining show in a real venue in America yet.
No, before that I did like 5 shows ever.
Yeah.
And they were all like pretty small. You know?
They're like, like ham shows.
Yeah. But I never headlined a show before that.
So how'd that come about? You and Killstation, right?
Well, Killstation did a Russian tour. It was like a 3-city Russian tour with Booking Machine, like a booking agency.
Yeah.
And then I guess they reached out to him and they were like, we want to do a full European Russian tour, but we want Brennan to come with you. And then, he reached out to me and told me that. And I was like, let's fucking go. Like, I'm ready. And yeah, and then it just took a couple months of planning to like finalize everything, but it happened and it was crazy.
And the fans were going crazy.
Yes. Yeah. It was wild.
Dude, I saw some of those videos and
yeah, dude, shit was fucking, like I said, it was crazy. I did not expect it to be anywhere near that caliber.
Crazy.
It was just like, it really shows like that it showed me like this shit is real, you know what I mean? It's not just the internet, like this shit is real.
It's not just like Spotify streams or SoundCloud numbers.
It's like that in real life.
Packed out venues all across the world.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was wild.
From LA to Europe. Well, you're not from LA.
No, I'm from Long Beach, New York.
Me and you were both from Long Beach.
Yeah.
And you've told me this story probably like 3 times already, but I still don't fully comprehend exactly your history in Long Beach, and you moved. So what's that all about?
Okay, so my dad was a firefighter in New York, and shortly after 9/11, he basically retired. He went on to light duty for a while, and then he was able to retire. And we went to San Diego, like we visited California. And he was like, this is the place we need to move to. So that was when I was like 9 or 10 or something. So then we moved to San Diego. And I went to middle school and high school there. And then I obviously visited like 3 times a year back to New York. I was back and forth all the time because all my family's there. So we were back for all holidays. At the beginning, we were going back for everything. Thanksgiving, like every single holiday. And then when I graduated high school, me and Gus moved to LA together. So he was still in New York. I was in San Diego. We were still very close friends. So we were like, oh, let's move to LA.
Wait, so before we get into that, your dad, was he in New York on 9/11 at the World Trade Center?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
What, I mean, have you heard stories about that? Like, what was that?
I mean, he told me some crazy shit. I mean, he lost a lot of friends.
Yeah.
He saw some really fucked up shit. And like, yeah, I've heard countless stories. I won't even get into them. But
Yeah.
I've heard some crazy shit.
Dude, I mean, yeah, like being from Long Beach, which is really close to New York City, it's like
Yeah.
a 40-minute train ride away.
Yeah, he worked
Yeah.
in Rockaway.
Okay.
So, but like, you know.
But yeah, I mean,
9/11,
like
all
everyone
units, yeah.
came out, and I remember that day. I still remember I was in the 5th grade that day in school. Like, they start calling kids down to the office. Dude, I'm gonna like get emotional just talking about it, but, like literally telling them that their parents are gonna be able to pick them up. And like, dude, like fucking like half of the neighborhood, like people's parents and firefighters, like, dude, it was fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
I had a couple people in my class who lost parents.
Yeah.
And I barely remember that day. I was really young. I think it was in like 1st grade or something.
Yeah, because I'm a tad bit older than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all I remember is going home and like seeing my mom watching TV and like crying.
Yeah.
And like I knew my dad was like there. I don't think he was like full. I don't think he was on duty when it happened. But like even if you're off duty,
Right.
you get
Like
called in. Yeah.
everyone got called in.
Yeah. So like I just remember like I knew he was gonna be all right for some reason. You know what I mean? Like I just had it in my mind. I was like, he'll be good. Like, but yeah, it doesn't really hit you at that age. You know,
Yeah.
what I mean? I didn't really know what the fuck was going on.
I know. I remember my mom picked me up from the bus stop, and she was like, the World Trade Center, this happened, like, it's not there anymore. I'm like, what do you mean it's not there? Like, I literally couldn't comprehend that the building just couldn't be there.
Yeah, like holy shit. And like looking back on it, I'm like, wow, it's crazy that we got to experience that, like living in New York at that time, because that's like the craziest shit ever.
Yeah.
That ever happened in the United States. Like,
Yeah.
shit is wild.
Insane.
And like, yeah, like I said, I barely remember it, but all I know is that it was fucking tragic, beyond tragic.
So then how long after 9/11 did you move? You said it was a few years.
Yeah, so in 2001, I can't even do the math right now, but I don't even know how old I was. All I know is that I moved when
You're
I was...
probably like 6 years old or something.
Yeah, so we lived there for a couple years after. And then we moved when I was like 9. I think I was 9.
So your dad was a firefighter. What was your mom doing?
My mom was an architect, so she worked for the city as well. But she's retired as well. But she's been thinking about like getting back into it and whatnot. But I don't believe she was... I can't remember if she was working at the time, but I know she was at home. But yeah, she was an architect. And yeah, she taught me a lot of shit about like when it comes to that line of work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I learned a lot from both my parents, from like, even though you wouldn't expect like doing something creative, like learning from a career like that, you know what I mean? But I took a lot away from that shit.
Yeah.
Almost tapped the table there.
So, and you have one sibling.
Yeah, I have a younger brother.
You have a younger brother. So your dad, your younger brother, and your mom all moved to San Diego?
Yeah, we all moved.
And your dad was a firefighter over there too?
No, he was already retired. So it was basically like his retirement move, you know? He was like, where do I want to go? Where's the best place for my family? And so then he just loved San Diego. We all loved San Diego, so we went there.
Dude, that's sick.
It's fucking beautiful down there.
So what was it like kind of restarting your life at a young age? And now you're in San Diego, you have to make new friends. You got to go to middle school in the new place. Like, what was that like?
I remember being really upset about it
I bet.
and being like, I do not want to be here. I want to go back to New York. I remember telling my parents, right when I'm old enough, I'm moving right back to New York. And they were like, no, you're not. Trust me. And then I was like, as I like adjusted to it, like it only took like a year or two, but then I was like, yeah, this is the spot, you know? Like, I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I missed a lot of my friends, but I would see them so many times a year.
Right.
Because I have a cousin that's the same age as me.
Okay.
And he's my mom's sister's son. He's literally the same age as me, same grade, everything. So we were like best friends. And so he kept me in contact with all my friends, you know what I mean? Like he kept me updated. And it was like when I came back, it was like I never left.
So when you would go back to Long Beach, you would stay with them?
No, we kept our house.
Oh, you had 2 houses by Coastal Life?
Yeah, we were renting out the house.
Oh, smart.
We kept the house and rented it out. And then, so we would like rent it out for a certain amount of time. And then when it was open, we would go back. You know what I mean?
That sounds like that's like the ideal lifestyle.
And you know what was even more ideal about it? A lot of times we were renting it to my uncle. So we'd be like, we want to come back for Christmas. And he's like, all right.
Oh my
and it's
God.
like, we just go back and he's staying there too. So it's like, you know, it's like not really intrusive. You know what I mean? We're all family.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's crazy. It's a rare situation that I was in.
So what was high school like in San Diego? Like,
High school
what kind of
was cool.
kid were you in high school?
I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. I was just a pretty average kid, like just obsessed with skateboarding
Yeah.
and like fucking smoking weed and just like doing the normal California kid shit, you know?
Did you ever get into surfing over there in San Diego?
Honestly, I never did. I surfed a couple times. I remember I surfed one time in Hawaii. It was the first time I surfed. And I loved it. And then one time I went surfing with my uncle and I got hit in the head really hard with the board. And I was like,
just
I'm out.
right there.
I was like, never
Yeah.
again.
It will just stop you in your tracks.
It really did. It was scary as shit. And I never really did it again. I would like to try it again, I guess.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
And you know, we're from Long Beach, so
Yeah, and exactly. People don't realize when I say I'm from New York, they're like, oh, you're from the city? I'm like, no, I'm from Long Island. It's like a surf town. They're like, a surf town?
yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
It's a really hard thing to explain, especially when I moved out here and people are like, where are you from? And I'd be like, I'm from Long Beach. And they'd be like, oh, you're from Long Beach, like an hour
Yeah.
away? And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm from Queens, all right? I'm
Yeah.
from Queens.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain if you don't know like the whole layout of New York and like different
Yeah.
boroughs and all that stuff.
But Long Beach for 3 months in the summer is pretty similar to like Venice or Santa Monica.
Yes, very
But then
similar.
in the winter, it's kind of a desolate,
Yeah, it's really cold.
miserable. Yeah.
But yeah, people can't imagine it, but like people travel all over New York. I guess not all over New York, but like from the city
Oh, yeah.
to Long Beach just to go to the beach and shit.
Yeah. Like from all on Long Island, from all in the city, it's like the last stop on the train and everyone comes off and
That's my street.
hangs out in the
That's
summer.
my block, Long Beach Road.
Oh, right. Right. It's
Long
so
Beach Road and
funny.
Riverside.
Riverside.
Yeah, that's right. Or no, the train
Stand
station's
up.
on what?
Dude, I have no idea.
Edwards or something? I
I'm
don't
such a
even know.
bad like Long Beach resident.
I know. I suck, bro.
Dude, I went home a couple weekends ago to surprise my mom for her birthday. And like, I seriously was like lost for a second. And I was like, where the hell is Gino's? I can't remember.
No, that's so true because I'll be back and we'll be walking, like me and my friends, and they'll be like, oh, it's on this block. I'm like, how many blocks away is
Yeah,
that? They're
like,
like,
wait,
bro,
what?
what? You don't know that? I'm like, bro, I haven't been here for a while. Like, give me a break.
So in high school, were you already getting into music or?
No, well, I've always loved music. Like, I was just always obsessed with like the whole, just like watching, seeing different artists and their styles, their videos, and all that stuff. I was always obsessed with that. But Gus really like brought me to a different level with that music shit. Like he like not making it, of course, making it too, but like that's was our main bond. Was through music. Like just
So,
being
like,
fans of music.
So even in high school, when you were flying back to New York, you and him stayed close.
Oh yeah, for sure. First person I called when I got off the plane, type shit.
That's so crazy because yeah, like you posted a couple photos of you guys in Mets hats,
Yeah,
and you're like 10 years old tops.
yeah, somewhere around there, like 12.
But that's crazy to think that you were already in San Diego and he was still in New York, and you guys just maintained this such a close friendship.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you how that happened. I barely even remember meeting Gus, to be honest with you. Like, I don't even remember when we met.
Yeah, like were you guys in the same like elementary
We went to
school?
different elementary schools.
Where'd you go to?
I went to Alito.
Yeah, same here. Lito, stand
Gus
up.
went to
We went to East School.
Lindell.
Lindell, right.
Yeah. So fucking
Yeah, dude, how the fuck did that happen?
it was all through my cousin. My cousin like linked us up, linked me and all my New York friends up.
Wow, shout out your cousin.
Shout out Keith.
Shout out Keith. So, what kind of music were you listening to in high school? Like, what were you into? Because you're saying you're watching artists, you're studying them.
Well, mostly like hip hop and stuff. A lot of my friends I have that make music, they tell me like a whole different thing. Like they started off in like hardcore and punk
Yeah,
and all this shit,
yeah.
and then kind of got onto hip hop a little later on and stuff. Mine was kind of the opposite. Like I started with like real underground type hip hop, like fucking like People Under the Stairs, and Jedi Mind Tricks.
That's like classic underground. That's
Yeah,
not the
like,
SoundCloud
exactly.
underground. That's like,
and like Murs and shit like that. I already explained a little bit of that on another interview I did, but yeah, I loved all that type shit. And then I obviously loved like classic type punk type shit and like classic rock. My dad influenced me a lot with like music and shit. Like he listened to like a lot of Bob Dylan, Elton John, the Police, such a variety of musicians.
Yeah, because you're into like a lot of like 80s rock too, right?
Yeah. I love all that shit. And I see, like when my dad was playing it back then, I'd be like, oh, like this is all right. But now I like listen to it way more, and I'm like, damn, he knew what was up. Like, he knows the good music.
Crazy.
Yeah, and like that's some of my big influences now.
So was your mom working in San Diego? Like what was she up to?
No, she wasn't working. I mean, she was like figuring out if she wanted to keep doing the architecture thing. Like she took like that whole exam. I don't know what the exam is, but like took the whole exam to get her license in California or whatever, but she never got back into it. We like mainly my parents are like really hands-on handy people. So when we got our house in San Diego, they just like spent so much time renovating the whole house by hand. Like,
wow.
And like I remember coming home from school and like I had no money. Like I really didn't want to get a job, and I'd be like, Dad, like just let me help you around the house and like throw me some money. He's like, all right, I'll put you to work, and would like teach me how to do all that shit, like tiling, framing, all that shit.
So what were you expecting to do after high school? Was the plan to go to college, or were you trying to get into, you know, some like blue collar stuff? Yeah,
well, I applied to a lot of 4 years. I got into a lot. I got into like, I was going to go to University of Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, wow. I
got accepted to University of Oregon, Chico State University, SDSU, a bunch. I applied to a lot of colleges. Like I went through the whole, you know, like at the end of high school, you go through the whole college apps thing.
The whole process.
I did that all like hardcore and like kept my grades up, and like that was my main goal. Wavy Jones FaceTiming me.
Wavy.
But
so what happened? Did you end up going to school right out of high school or no, right?
Yeah, I went to community college.
Out here?
Yeah, in LA, yeah.
Right. Where was that?
Glendale Community College. Shout out Glendale Community College.
Fucking shout out Glendale, man.
I fuck with that school. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I love Glendale.
Yeah, it's a great place.
I was just talking about Glendale with someone. Was it you?
Probably me, bro. I love Glendale.
Dude, the Americana. Fire.
The fucking, what's that shopping center? Is that a Glendale Galleria?
Yeah.
I'm always over there.
Oh yeah, dude, that's the spot.
Yeah.
So then by that point, you're 18. And is that when Gus came out here?
Yeah, he wanted to move to LA to pursue music. He was like, let's go to LA. That's the spot. And I was like, it just so happened that Glendale Community College is like a really high rated community college. So I was like, fuck it, I'm down to go there. And so then like me and Gus were kind of just correlating. I remember at one point we were talking about like moving to Santa Barbara because we went a couple times in high school. Dude, you know, that whole party scene, like Isla Vista.
Yeah.
But then, like, we were like, fuck that. We'll just go to LA. And then we went to LA, and I was just, like, in school, just so lost. Like, I was like, fuck. Like,
because what were you trying to pursue in school at that point?
Business. I didn't know, bro. Like, it's the classic type shit. Like, you pick business as a major because you don't know what the fuck else to do.
Right.
So I was like, I'll figure it out. I was like, I know I don't want to work any type of 9-to-5 bullshit, so I'm going to try to do this business shit and then try to, like, entrepreneur my way into something, you know what I mean?
Because you weren't recording music at that point.
At all, no.
But Gus was already probably, like, a year into it.
Yeah, just, like, not seriously recording, but, like, finding the basics, how to do it.
Right.
He literally taught everything to himself, so, like...
Wild.
Yeah, he wasn't really like, he still wasn't sure if it was going to work, you know?
Yeah.
But then it got to a point where he was like, this is going to work. I don't give a fuck what I have to do.
So this is 2015?
Yeah, 2015.
And is this when you end up in that Pasadena house? Like the famed Pasadena house?
Yeah, my mom helped us find that house. So I remember we were staying in San Diego at the time, like at my parents' house. So Gus flew out. And then we were there for the whole summer. My parents left us in the house for the whole summer. They went back to New York.
Wow.
They were like, be safe. And we were like, holy shit, this is fire. Just because we felt like very independent and shit.
Yeah.
And so then during that time in the summer, we had to find a house in LA. So we would like take my mom like left her car behind, and I would like take my mom's car up to LA for the day and go house hunting and like get denied by 10 places and then drive all the way back home to San Diego that night and be like, fuck, all right, let's try again tomorrow. And it was fucking hard, bro. I would not do that nowadays.
I don't even know how.
We were 18 doing that. Gus was 17.
I don't even get why anyone rented you a house to begin with.
No, yeah, well, exactly.
You have no credit. You probably don't even have a credit card at that point, right?
I had nothing. Yeah, not shit.
I mean, you have like no work history.
Yeah, the only
you don't have any of the requirements needed.
The only thing I had was like, I'm gonna be a student. So that's the only thing that helped me out.
Right, that's true.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm in school and I have money to pay for rent.
Yeah, because I got financial aid. That's how I paid for my whole rent in college. I got financial aid.
How much was rent at that Pasadena house? I've always wondered.
$1,600 a month.
And it was like how many bedrooms?
2 bedroom.
2 bedrooms, and then there was a back house.
It was a garage.
It
wasn't a back house.
I never knew that wasn't a back house.
No, it was a garage.
That was like a legit garage that someone lived in.
Yes. Multiple people lived in there at different times.
So you move in there with Gus. Mm-hmm. And what happens after that?
Okay, so yeah, we moved in there. And I was going to school, and Gus went to school with me. Nobody knows this. I don't even know if I should say this. He would be mad at me. But he was a college student.
I never knew that.
For like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
He actually enrolled, or he was just going with you? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. I never knew that.
And so he was in my math class, pre-algebra.
That's so funny for some reason, just to think of him sitting in a math class.
Yeah.
He seems like not capable of handling that. Well, I guess he didn't.
He was a really smart student.
Well, right, but it seems like that's the last place in the world he wants to be. Right.
But like, I hated it too, but I was at the point where I was like, fuck it, I've literally nothing else to like. I can't even think of what else I would want to do, so I have to do this.
So is that how he convinced his mom to come out here? He was like, I'm going to enroll, I promise. Yeah. I never knew that. That makes a lot of sense now.
And he did, and he could have easily done whatever he wanted with school, obviously, but he was just like, fuck this, I'm over it.
Yeah.
And I remember at that point, he was just, I would be going to school every day. He'd be staying home making music. And then, and then it got to the point where he was getting really frustrated because he like couldn't figure out how he wanted to sound and this and that. So then he was like, I need to go back to New York. Like a lot of shit happened. Like we were getting in arguments a lot, and like, money was tight. We had no money. We were starving. We had nothing. Because
what? You and him were splitting that $1,600 a month rent?
Yeah, and neither of us had a job.
So how was that ever supposed to work?
We were scrounging up money, bro, like crazy. It was very, very rough. And the only reason that I was semi-comfortable is because of my financial aid.
Right.
And like, I can only imagine how hard it was for Gus. Like,
because I guess how the internet will want to tell the story is that for some reason, people on the internet are like, Brennan kicked out Gus and made him move back to New York. What's that about?
Bro, I really don't know what that's about. Like, honestly, I think that people just like to like cause drama and like you said, make up stories in their head and shit. But I don't know. I really don't know where that came from. And like people always say to me like, oh, this and that, like about any relationship you have with anybody, especially when it's all broadcasted on the internet. But it's like, bro, if you look behind the scenes at anything, like everyone fucking argues. Everyone has some type of like disagreements at times. And like, I fucking fight with my brother more than anyone when we're together. So it's like, come on, like everyone has like disagreements.
Yeah,
and shit. You know, but it was never like that. It was never like kicking anybody out or like some shit like that. It was just like we were struggling.
Yeah, me and you were back home in Long Beach, I guess last Christmas, and Ghostemane happened to have a show on Long Island, and we went. And we were hanging out with like all your friends from Long Beach. I guess they're technically my friends too.
Yeah, now they are.
Yeah. And I was talking to Emma, and like that came up or something. And she was like, Roger, you just have to understand that like Peep would call his mom and be like, oh, me and him just fought or something. And even though it was only like a 10-second thing, that's all she knew about the situation.
That's what I'm saying.
So then, you know, like in her head, she thinks it's one thing, but it's just, you know, like a normal whatever. It's like if you're in a relationship and you talk shit, and like if like you and your, man, that's a weird analogy. If you and like your boyfriend or your girlfriend break up, and then you talk shit about them to your friends, and then you end up getting back together, all your friends are gonna be like, what do you mean? I thought she was a bitch. You know, so it's like, it kind of just can get out of the control quick.
Exactly. You don't call your mom and be like, hey mom, I just wanted to call and let you know I had a great day today.
Right.
Like, no, that never happens. You call your mom to say, mom, I'm fucking going through this and that and this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
So like, it's pretty basic shit. People are just retarded and they fucking like to cause drama and try to stir shit up. It's fucking terrible and evil.
The internet is insane.
The internet is just terrible and evil.
So he ended up going back to New York. For how long, though? Because it seemed like he was back pretty shortly thereafter.
Honestly, I don't even know the timeline. It was like probably like 6 months or something, max.
Yeah.
But I remember like he went back, and then I went back to visit in summer. And we were chilling every day again. And then it like... his music started to work, you know what I mean? Like he was like, listen to this shit. I remember hearing it and I was like, oh shit, like you got it. And he was like, yeah, I need to get back out there like now.
Do you remember what songs those were?
Star Shopping was the first one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So, wow, I didn't know he made that in New York.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Star Shopping was the first one that I heard.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, this is it, bro. And then he was like, I need to get right back out there. Like I was like, move back in, same house, right back in. And it was just like, took it from there. So
was it still just you two? Because that house ended up turning into this notorious, famous house that everyone lived in at one point. But
yeah, I remember, so he moved back out, and then he started introducing me to all the people he had met on the internet, like while he was in New York working and shit. So it was like NetArb and like Craig Zen, like a bunch of other people.
So crazy.
And so then the house just became like the place for people to come chill.
Such an insane like slice of time.
That's where I met all my best friends nowadays. I literally consider my fucking brothers. I met them all in that house.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time me and you officially met?
I do. I remember it very clearly.
What was that?
I remember coming home from looking for a new house with Craig, and we walked back in, or we walked into the house, and you were sitting there like interviewing Gus or something, talking to Gus.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, because I'd heard about, he talked about you a lot, bro. He was like, oh, Roger from Masquerilla, like this and that. He's from New York. He went to Long Beach High School and all this shit.
Crazy.
And so I like knew who you were, but I remember like, that was so weird because it was like the day we were looking, the first official day we were like looking for a house. And actually that day when we came back, that was the house we moved into. Like we came from the Whittier house to...
So, dude, like, yeah, it's just so weird that I happened to be there that day.
Yeah, that was an iconic day. We had our button-ups on and everything ready to go.
Yeah, so I remember it the same way. I'm sitting there with Gus, and he's playing me music that would end up on Crybaby, and we're talking about it. We're talking about Long Beach, and we're trying to figure out, like, I'm like, yeah, man, like, you need to get an agent and a manager and this and that, you know, just trying to offer, like, any advice I can. And then you and Craig walk in, and you're wearing button-up t-shirts, and it looks so unnatural, and, like, I can see your neck tattoos popping out of it, and I'm like, oh, what's up, guys? Like, what are you up to? And you're like, yeah, we're trying to fucking apply for a house, but, like, this and that. I'm like, in my head, I was like, yeah, because you guys look like fucking idiots.
I guess we did.
And then you were like, oh, dude, I'm from Long Beach, but I live in San Diego. I was like, oh, so you're not from Long Beach, dude, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. People, it's a confusing ass story, bro.
And then it turns out we've become best of friends.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that day I wrote about on Masquerilla, which is why this story is probably so fresh in our minds. That was the day that I dropped White Tea on Masquerilla, and I wrote like a quick little couple paragraphs about that whole experience in that house. And
I remember reading that for the first time. I was like, damn, he got us.
Dude.
He was like, you were like, I walked into the house and clothes thrown over all the furniture. I was like, damn, he got us.
Dude, I fucking wish I took video. That's like my biggest regret is that like I have no video footage of that house.
Yeah, I have some video footage of that house.
Ooh, okay.
I have some rare shit.
Damn, I gotta see that.
Yeah, for sure. I can show you.
So then you end up moving. So at that point, are you recording music?
No, still. Oh, no. I actually was barely, I think. The first time I recorded music was in the Pasadena House shortly before we left.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's hard to think of the exact timeline. But, like, I guess we weren't in the house for that much longer yet after I recorded my first song.
Right, because isn't there a song that, like, everyone's on? And I think there's a photo or something of you guys in the Pasadena House when you recorded it. Like, isn't like you and Peep and Omen and Ghost, like, isn't like everyone on it?
A lot of people. Killstation.
Yeah, crazy.
Fucking a lot of people. I remember that. Yeah, that was a good day. I remember it was like a triple beat, like fucking 8-minute long song, 6-minute long song or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is. It's probably not, or it's somewhere on the internet, but it's not posted on anybody's like page that.
Yeah, like someone randomly has it on YouTube or SoundCloud or something.
Exactly.
So what were those early days like? Just you and all these people living in the same house. Like, what was it like living in that Pasadena house with Craig and
It was
Erick
stressful, bro.
Gus?
It was stressful. Naturally,
Yeah.
if you're in a house with 12 other people, it's fucking stressful.
And like none of you had jobs.
Nope. None of us had jobs. We had barely any money. Like, it's funny because like I Uber Eats a lot now, but like back then, like Uber Eats was fucking out of the question. Like a $5 delivery fee, like you got me fucked up. I was like, nah. But now it's like, shit's pretty normal. But it was a struggle, bro. It was a struggle. But I'm surprised that like we didn't fucking kill each other. You know what I mean? Like, put 12 dudes in a house
literally
with
it's
no
like
money.
a reality show.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that day I came, there were like holes in the wall. Like someone punched through the walls. I think it was Ned like got drunk or something.
Me and Omen, I think, did that.
You and Omen were just punching through the walls. And I was like, how have there not been more conflicts? Like, I'm not surprised to hear that there's been one or two conflicts, but how has there not been multiple?
It's because we all knew like our limits. You know what I mean? Like, when like you have an argument with someone, you just know when to walk away and just be like, all right, fuck this, it's not worth it.
So when you move out, what are you still a freshman in college when you moved to Whittier? That's like
when I moved to Whittier,
2016, early 2016.
Fuck, it's so hard to remember this type shit, but
I know it's such a mess.
all I remember is that I was either a sophomore. Definitely wasn't still a freshman. I went through my first year in Pasadena, and then I moved to Whittier, and the only reason we moved to Whittier is because it's the only house we could find, by the way. We had no idea where to move.
For people not from Los Angeles who aren't familiar with Los Angeles,
Whittier,
I still barely understand where Whittier is, and I've been living here for 4 years, and I've been to that Whittier house. It's out of the way.
Yeah.
It's not
even
in
like
Los
LA,
Angeles.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's LA County, but it's not nowhere near LA.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
What is it? It's like 45 minutes away from like...
Downtown, yeah. Yeah, it was far as fuck.
And none of you had cars.
I had a car.
Oh, you had a car.
Yeah. But that didn't last that long.
Was it that yellow boxy car? No. Whose car was that? Because that's in the White Tee video.
That was Nolan's mom's car.
Killstation's mom's car.
I think she still has it.
Wow.
But yeah, that's Nolan's mom's car.
Fucking put that car in a museum.
Legendary.
ASAP.
Yeah.
So
fuck,
funny.
I hope she still has it.
Wow.
But yeah, I had the blue Infinity. Remember that car? It had like black rims on it and shit.
Barely, maybe.
Fuck, I wish I had like a picture of it. I loved that car, bro, but it just got fucked up.
So then you all go to Whittier, the whole house, right?
Yeah, we were in Whittier, and then the original plan was for like, it was like me and Craig and Erick. And Gus was going to come, but then Gus started like actually getting money and like started like progressing and like got his whole shit figured out. So then he got like his own place.
Because he put out Crybaby while he was still in Pasadena or right around that time. And
No,
then,
I remember in Whittier. It was when it was released. Yeah.
and then that tape changed everything for him, as
Yeah.
everyone knows. He got a management and this and that, and
But
they put him
there
in
was
a
already
place.
yeah, that was already figured out before Crybaby dropped though.
Oh, interesting.
Like
I didn't
people
know
already,
that.
because he was that type of person where if you are fucking blind, you could see the potential. You know what I mean?
If you
Like,
hear one song that ended up on Crybaby, you
Yeah.
know that this is something special.
exactly. So like, he got his own spots. Then it ended up being me and Eric and Craig, and then yeah, that house was legendary as fuck too.
Yeah, I went in that house, I think towards the end. I walked in there to link with Eric, and
It was dirty to
there
say
was
the least.
no furniture in there.
No.
I was like, this looks like, if you've ever been to a frat house when they throw a party and like they take
Yeah.
everything out of the house and
Yeah.
put it in one room.
Yep.
And I think there were like beer cans on the ground and stuff.
There might have been, bro.
And-
there might have been.
And that famous wheelchair is just like in the
still have
corner.
that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's at my new house.
Where is that wheelchair from, by the way?
A friend of mine in high school picked it up off the side of the road
Wow.
because he thought it was just cool. Because it's like not like a medical wheelchair.
Yeah.
It looks like a fucking like insane asylum wheelchair because it doesn't have places for your feet, you know?
And like it has like a leather backing. It's not like
Yeah, it's a
like an
creepy
old
ass
school
wheelchair.
one.
But yeah, that's gone from every house.
I
Oh
wonder.
yeah, because my friend was gonna move into the Pasadena house, so he started moving his shit up.
including the wheelchair.
Yeah, and that was his wheelchair.
That was
he brought
a
it up.
top priority for him to bring.
So he brought that, and then the plans ended up falling through. Like he wasn't able to move in. So then he like brought all his shit back, and he was like, bro, you can keep that fucking wheelchair. Like I don't want it.
Because what videos has that been in now?
I don't know, many.
It was in YT, but it's in a bunch more. Is it in gym
Yeah.
class and it's in one of yours or it's in one of Ghostmane's? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
So many.
Didn't you and Gus get cats somewhere?
We got a cat in Pasadena.
You got a cat?
Dennis.
Dennis.
Shout out Dennis.
So what? You went to like the Pasadena Humane Society or something, or where'd you get this random cat
Craigslist. Yeah, for $50.
From? Why is that so funny?
We had
to me?
how stupid is that? We had no money.
No money, and
we
you're
were
just
like
searching
$50
Craigslist for a cat.
Cat game over.
You know what's crazy is right before Gus passed, one of like the last things we talked about is how we wanted a cat.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's go to the Humane Society in Pasadena. That's where I got my dog. But yeah, that's crazy. So where's that cat now?
I gave it away.
Right. Someone still has it, right?
He's chilling in San Diego.
Yeah.
But fucking, I remember Gus really loved cats because he was the one that like brought the idea. But
Yeah.
I'm allergic to cats.
Same.
So I was like, fuck, I've never had a cat, I guess. Like, I like them. And it was like so cute. It was like a kitten. I was like, we need this cat. And we got it. And then the allergies hit right away. And I was like, fuck, like, this is going to be hard. But then it kind of went away, you know?
Yeah, because I think you can get kind of used to it.
Yeah, you do
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It went away. But, but so like, it got to the point where the cat was a lot to handle because it was like in a small ass little house like that.
Yeah.
And it was like a kitten like fucking our shit up. It like tore our couch the fuck up. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Torn up.
I think that's probably another reason why there was just clothes all over the couches.
Oh shit.
There goes Brennan's. Sounds like a phone dropping.
I just bought this fucking phone. Can't let it break. But,
Wait, just like take it off if it vibrates. Wait, so okay, you end up in Whittier.
yeah.
Are you recording music then?
Yeah, I was full on recording then. At that point, I was like in love with it. You know what I mean? Because like all it takes is like just like a couple songs, and like if like I liked them, so I was like, I got to keep going with this. Like this is like what I want to do for sure now.
So was it just the underground scene that was influencing you then, or was there any other outside
Yeah.
influences?
Oh my god!
There
bro.
goes the phone. Dude, just leave it on the ground. You don't need it right now.
All right, so yeah, the underground, like all my friends,
Right.
were my main influences. Every single one of my friends, because I saw how determined they were and how easy it was for them. And I was like, dude, I need to try this because if I don't, I'll always regret it. You know what I mean? So yeah, just seeing all my friends, how they work and like how fun it was for them. I was like, I want to do that. I was jealous as fuck. So I was like, I need to do that. I was tired of just being that kid. You know what I mean? I was like, I need to do something, make something for myself.
Yeah, because I think around that time, I always wondered, because at that time, GBC wasn't, well, I didn't know even what GBC was. I just thought it was what all you guys called yourselves as a friend group. Like, I didn't know that was this thing that already existed.
No, GBC was existing for a while.
Wicked Phase made it and Cold Harbors, and like, I had no idea. I just thought like,
made it, yeah.
Right. So I just assumed like, oh, that's what the Pasadena House crew is called or something. And then I was always just like, wait, why isn't Brennan in GBC? And I was like, why isn't Brennan, you know? But I learned what GBC was. But at the same time, you just started recording music.
Yeah, I just started. Like, I made like, in the Pasadena House, before we moved, I probably made like 3 songs, maybe like 4, some shit like that. And then we moved, and then I was like, all right, it's time to go. So I was like, just started working hard.
And all that time you stayed in school.
Yeah. Well, that's like, school was like a blessing in disguise for me. You know what I mean? Like, even though I probably won't use the degree that I got, the business degree, it allowed me to like, it paid my rent, and it allowed me to be comfortable, while at the same time I was able to record music on the side. So
what year did you end up graduating from college?
December of 2017.
Last year.
A year ago, almost a year ago. Exactly.
What school was that?
Glendale.
Oh, so you stayed there.
I was going to tell you, when I moved to Whittier, I transferred to a college over there called Rio Hondo.
Right. I think I remember you saying
And I went to Rio Hondo for a year. Then we moved, and then I moved to Van Nuys, that apartment.
Right. The one like in North Hollywood or something.
And then so I was like, I'm going to go back to Glendale. So then I finished at Glendale.
You know, because on that same note of when Peep started blowing up, and I'm like, and then I would see you and I didn't know what you were doing. And I was like, why aren't you in GBC? Even up until last year, I did a Ghostemane Unmasked show. And I feel like you were relatively like not like quiet putting out music before that show, and I saw you because we're all friends, and you came. I'm like, Brennan, like, what's up, man? Like, what have you been doing? Like, you got anything going on? And you were like, no, dude, I'm finishing college.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you are smarter than all of us. You're about to have a college degree.
I had to, bro. I had to finish what I started. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, so smart.
And it really wasn't that fucking hard, bro. Like,
yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, like, I feel
community
like
college, it was not. I mean, I can see like, if I had a job too, like that would fucking suck.
Yeah.
That would have been hard. That would have taken up a lot of energy of mine. But I didn't have a job because the financial aid paid my rent.
Right.
So I was able to just like relax, go to school, come home. When I wasn't at school, I had 100% free time. So it was like, wasn't that much. It wasn't that hard, bro.
Yeah, I feel like the hardest part about college is just convincing yourself to be engaged in the process.
Yeah.
And, you know, for most people, including me, that's not in their personalities. But, dude, I commend and applaud you for fucking finishing that.
Thank you.
That was the smart move. So you mentioned that you moved from Whittier to Van Nuys.
Yes.
What happened in Whittier? Why'd you move?
We all collectively were like, fuck this house. Well, at that point, we all had a little bit of like money saved up, and we could all afford our own places.
Right.
So we all just kind of like broke apart and got our own spots.
Because did you leave and people stayed back, or like?
No, we all left together.
Okay.
I was like technically the last one out, but
yeah, because I had Omen on the podcast, and like we didn't get into the details of it, but I don't know, like he was like something happened in Whittier, and I mean we don't need to get into like the specific details.
I mean, yeah, there was a bunch of shit that happened in Whittier, but people came and go the whole time that I lived there. Like the living situation was constantly changing.
When did you move from there? I feel like I remember.
I moved from there August 2017.
I was fucking with Gus that day, I feel like, because we went on a hike and he was like, I'm going to Whittier. Brennan's moving. And like, I want to go fucking
away party or something. Yeah,
but I couldn't go for some reason, which obviously now looking back, I'm like, fuck, I wish I was there.
Yeah, it was pretty, that was a fun party. I mean, it was just like, we were reckless. We did some reckless ass shit there.
Yeah, I heard some crazy stories about what happened that night, but we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So when you graduated high school, when you graduated college, shortly after, you put your foot on the gas pedal with the music, right?
Yeah, well, I was going to transfer to a 4-year. I was going to transfer to like an actual university. I was going to transfer to Northridge. That was one of the reasons I moved to Van Nuys, because it was equally in between Northridge and Glendale. So I could go to Glendale, finish up that semester, and then get my associate's degree, and then transfer to Northridge without having to move houses. So I remember, November of last year, Gus passed away, and that was literally the day that Gus passed away. I had my finals. I was already in finals for school.
Wow.
Because I remember school ended at like December, like very early December. And so I was going to transfer. And then after that, I was like, fuck this. Like, I need to do this shit. Like, I need to make something with my life. Like, now. It's now or never.
Right.
So I remember telling my dad, I was like, Dad, I'm not going to college. Like, I'm going to pursue music full time. And at that time, he knew I'd barely been doing music, but he was like, how are you going to get money? And I was like, I'll figure it out. And he was like, all right. Like, I'm super lucky that my parents were like, okay. Like, I think they might have thought that I was like winging it, you know what I mean? Which I was.
Yeah.
But I mean, it ended up slightly working, I guess. So I was like, for some reason, like right when I stopped going to school and right when I started pursuing it, like the money just started coming in that would allow me to pay my rent and eat food. And I was like, okay, now I just need to take it to the next level.
So you got your associate's degree.
Yeah.
And the money started coming in from where exactly?
Like streaming and shit like that.
Right.
Like just random shit. Like random, however most musicians make money, you know, streaming and like we used to do like reposts and shit.
Oh yeah,
you know?
right.
I never really did it that much, but that's always, there was different like features and shit. Like I don't know. There's a bunch of little different sources of income.
Because when Gus passed, me and you were like the only ones in Los Angeles from the crew.
Yeah.
Like everyone was obviously on the tour with him, and then Ghostemane was on tour, and Nedar was with, right? Nedar was with Ghostemane.
Nedar and Wavy and Ghostemane.
Yeah, like literally, like I think it was me and you. Killstation was in wherever the fuck he's from, like San Diego or something. I always think he's from Arizona for some reason.
I think he is originally from Arizona.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, it was just fucking me and you, and then I met up with you that next night, and like, yeah, fucking, I can't believe it's already been a year.
Crazy.
Fuck, dude.
That was a rough time, man. That was fucking rough.
Yeah, like the fucking worst fucking day of my life. Like,
yeah, bro. Like, bro, I say it all the time. Like, nothing will ever be the same, obviously, but like, so many things changed. Like, literally, the whole world just changed at that point. Everyone's mindset changed. Everyone's friends were made. Friendships were made. Friendships were destroyed.
It's insane.
All that shit. Good shit happened. Bad shit happened ever since then. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I fucking myself, I put my foot on the pedal, and it will news that I'll fucking announce sometime soon, probably in like the next month. But yeah, like you put your foot on the pedal, I put my foot on the pedal. I'm like, we're doing this shit for Gus, dude. Like, we're not gonna fucking stop this shit now. But at the same time, the friend group kind of got fractured.
For sure.
Yeah, like, yeah, dude, there was like a lot going on.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, naturally that shit happens when there's like something tragic happens, you know what I mean? Like, that shit, no matter any type of tragedy is going to change a lot of things, good and bad. That's always happens. So like, it's the same as with a lot of other things. Yeah,
because I think it's people don't, rightfully so, don't know how to deal with it. And they're looking to place blame, or they're looking to lash out. They're looking to not feel sad, so they want to be angry. And yeah, dude, it's
everyone deals with grief in different ways.
Right, yeah. It's just trying times, and fucking bad shit can come from it, but good shit can come from it. I feel like me and you have gotten so much closer. I feel so much closer. I mean, with all of now our friends from Long Beach, you know, and like Emma and Mello and fucking Angelo,
Shout
yeah,
out Angelo.
fucking Kapinski,
Dylan, my boy.
yeah, fucking yeah, dude. It's like we just last night was the 1 year anniversary, and we were all together at the memorial show.
Yeah, that was
fucking beautiful, dude.
It was a really good night. I mean, like, it wasn't a good night, but it was.
Right.
It's just like
It was hard.
The energy was where it should have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because basically Liza reached out to me, Peep's mom, and she was like, "Do you think people are gonna want to do something on the 15th?" I was like, "Of course." She was like, "Okay, well, the record label is doing something in New York. Do you want to do something in LA?" I was like, "Obviously, we should do a ham show, because like." Let's
bring it back to the roots.
Get everyone together, free show, all the fans can come. Let's just play his music. And even after it was all planned and we had it all planned out, I was still a little apprehensive. I was like, is this where I want to be on the 15th? Like, am I going to be mentally okay?
That's what I was thinking that too.
Yeah, and like I think Nedard was saying the same thing. He wasn't sure if he even wanted to play it, but then I feel like once everyone walked in and heard the music and everyone saw all of us and we were hugging each other, it's like, okay, this is the right way. Let's like make this anniversary a celebration of his life from here on out, you know,
for sure,
and not a sad day. Let's fucking be happy and play his music and be thankful.
The whole month of November, every day, honestly.
Yeah.
Celebrate his life every day, but especially the month of November, his birthday and his passing. And
this year was crazier because the album dropped in between and it was Halloween, and that's like a special holiday for him. So yeah, dude, there was a lot to fucking celebrate and fucking think of him about. Okay, so on a lighter note, so I feel like when you put out Badlands, that was your first, like, that was like your breakout, like.
It was my first project, like official project that I made.
Really, was it?
Well, I made a project a while ago, but I kind of rushed it. I didn't know what I was doing and shit. Didn't really promote it well, and like.
What project was that?
It was called Gone for Good.
Right. Okay.
That was a really old one. I don't even think it's on SoundCloud anymore. I like put most of the songs on private.
I feel like I've heard about it though.
But yeah, I made that one in the Whittier house, and I remember, like, I made it, and then I was like, after listening to it, I was like, I don't really fucking like this. Like, I rushed it kind of. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna start over and like try to do some different shit, try to get better naturally. And so then, yeah, I started working on like different little EPs, working with different producers and stuff, experimenting with different shit. And then like that Badlands one was the first like project I actually took time on and like released and like actually tried to promote it well, and like I was like actually proud of that project. Yeah,
because I feel like that project is the one that broke you out. And then all of a sudden, like your monthly Spotify listeners, every time I would look, it would be like, oh, another 100,000, and your Instagram followers. And like, what do you attribute that to? Like,
Gus.
Why did that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it all ties back to Gus, but I would be lying if I said that it wasn't all because of Gus. But it's also just like, if you put in work, I guess that shit happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as I used to hear people say it all the time, like, if you put in the work, it'll always pay off. But I was like, it's not always going to pay off. Like, you could put in work and that shit never works out, you know?
Yeah.
It's obviously a certain amount of luck. And like, but like, that's not a breakout to me because I'm nowhere where I want to be.
Well, I mean, a breakout in our scene.
Yeah, I guess.
Your numbers are. What you got, like 800,000 monthly Spotify listeners?
I don't know, something around there.
You know the number.
It's actually 811.
It's at 811.5. Someone listened to half a song. No, you know, dude, but you're out there.
I guess.
So then what happens after you drop that project? Because like, when was that?
That was, once again, I have no idea what month it was, but it was like shortly after I moved into the Van Nuys house.
It was the end of 2017.
Yeah, I made the first half in the Whittier house and then finished it up in the Van Nuys house. Because I remember Oh yeah, a big reason why I made that project is because Killstation taught me how to make beats, and I was like addicted to making beats for a little bit, and like was so hyped about it. And then like I made like that. The project has like I think 7 songs I produced on it.
So what program are you?
Logic.
Were you using Logic
Pro.
Wow, you learned how to use Logic Pro.
Yeah, well I was already using Logic Pro to record.
Oh, okay.
But I used it to produce too, because Killstation uses GarageBand, and it's like the same thing.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I
I'd be
feel
surprised who uses GarageBand. Like,
when did I mean, I started using GarageBand for this podcast, but
oh, you got it open right now?
no, right now it's Ableton.
Oh, really?
Because my friend's like an incredible engineer. His name is Evan Reiner, and he was like, "Listen, bro, I'll just give you my passwords or whatever. Just use this. I'll like set it up on the right levels." But I was using GarageBand at first for the podcast. Dude, yeah. I feel like so you and Killstation are super close now. Like, when did that happen?
In like 2015 we met in Pasadena, and
Right.
I remember we went up to Oakland, I think it was, for a show. Yeah, it was Oakland. And I remember Gus was performing, Craig was performing, a bunch of other people, I think maybe even Erick. I forget exactly who was there, but Nolan was performing there. And so I met him there. I was just there. I was just the hype man, you know what I mean? Just like tagging along. And I met him there. And we just kind of like started, we like didn't really talk that much up there, but we like introduced ourselves. I remember we hit heads in the mosh pit.
Really?
We smacked heads together.
Because he goes insane in the mosh pit.
Yeah. We smacked heads together and like looked at each other and we're like, and it was like a friendship was born.
Dude.
And then he flew into LA, I think like a month or so, 2 months after that, to come and stay at the Pasadena House for a bit and like really meet everybody. And so then he came, I picked him up from the airport, and yeah, we just became friends from there.
Yeah, he's like no other person I've met.
Yeah.
But he's also like the realest person I've ever met. He will tell you
guy.
exactly what is going through his brain at any given moment.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
You better believe it. Yeah, he's a really good guy. He's really talented. He's like the most talented person I've ever met, almost.
So
Just about.
you end up touring with him this year, but so then what are you up to? You're living in North Hollywood, you're done with school, you put out Badlands, you're making more money from your music. Like, what was like early 2018 looking like? Like, what were those next steps that you made?
Early 2018. So that was like, yeah, almost a year ago. Yeah. So it's hard to think what like was going through my head at that time. I mean, I was still obviously shocked from what happened with us and shit, and like just kind of like at that point I was just working every day. That's what my goal was. I was like, I'm gonna try to make a song or do something every day. And so like I was just literally going so hard, as hard as I could, try to make as much music as I can. Wasn't even really thinking about it, just trying to make songs. And then like occasionally I'd make a song and be like, okay, I really like that one, I'm gonna put that aside. Okay. Maybe release that, you know what I mean? And since then I haven't put out an official album yet, like considerably an album. Right. But I've just done EPs and shit.
Because you put out a couple EPs this year.
Yeah, 2 with Fish Narc. I've been working with Fish Narc very closely recently.
Yeah, so how did you and Fish end up working together?
We were friends. We met at the Whittier house in like 2017 at some point, like early 2017, I think. And yeah, like we got along, and we never really were like super close, but then we started to like hang out more when we'd be at Gus's house and this and that. He'd be back in LA more often. Because
Fish Narc was actually a GBC member, right? Before Gus. Like he was an original member way back when.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And we just, I don't know. Fish was like, I like your music. Like I like the way you make music. Like let's make some shit. And I was like, let's do it. And I remember like we made a couple songs, and he was like, I love these. Like I want to really keep going with this. And I was like, I'm down, because I love working with Ben. He's like super, super talented. He's like the best guitarist I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he's like the nicest person ever.
Great producer, very nice, and like just good energy. You know what I mean? So like, we started working together closely, and we just hit it off. It's like you can't really explain how like these friendships occur. Like,
Yeah, I know.
It just happens. Like you just find yourself, you're like, oh shit, we've been hanging out for a week straight. Like didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Like it just happens. So like, yeah, we just got along and shit worked out.
Because also, I feel like for the last year, every time I've seen you, like whether it's the Spotify numbers going up or the touring, or you're like, yeah, this label just hit me up, or so-and-so just hit me up. They want to have a meeting. So like what, right now, do you have a manager?
No.
No manager. Do you have an agent?
No.
No agent. It was just a European
Booking agency, yeah.
booking company. They do all the Europe tours. They do everyone. Whenever they go over there, they handle it. So no manager, no agent, and no label still.
Yep.
So what's your mindset on that?
I'm just playing it by ear. I mean, I'm not trying to force anything, you know what I mean? I just like, if an opportunity comes and it's like the right time, then it'll work out, you know what I mean? Like shit will just fall into place naturally, I'm hoping. But I'm not like out searching for like, you know, like that shit, because I feel like I'm doing all right by myself.
Do you think that you going to college has aided you in this process of being able to handle yourself?
Yeah, well, what going to college for business has helped me the most with is being very cautious.
Right.
And to tread very lightly and carefully, and
Smart.
make sure that you don't fuck yourself over, because that will you can ruin your whole career. So
yeah.
And like, I'm just trying to play it smart. Just take it slow, not rush anything.
Smart.
And hopefully it will work out in the end. I mean, there's like a lot of shit on the table that like needs to be figured out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, talking to like a lot of my friends that are way more experienced than me, like they tell me like, oh yeah, that shit it just works out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Like you never hear a story of an artist seeking out a manager. It's always they get to a certain point, someone reaches out and it's a good fit, and it works out. Mm-hmm. So is your dad and mom still in San Diego, or?
Both my parents live in New York, because when I moved to LA, they stayed in San Diego for like a year more, and then they went back to New York.
And then your brother is how many years younger?
He's 6 years younger than me.
Oh, wow. So he came back to New York, but he was young when they went to San Diego.
He was really young.
He was 2 years old or something, right? Or younger.
So I was like 9, yeah.
Yeah, he was like 3.
Yeah, it's like 3 or something like that. And yeah, so he started school. It was definitely rough for him, you know, because he's starting school. I guess it was kind of similar with me, though.
Yeah. It was like a reverse process, though. He went from San Diego, what he knew, to New York, and you went.
Yeah.
So your family's back in Long Beach. Mm-hmm. One of the interesting things is, through our friendship, over the holidays, whenever now in present time, or, you know, the past few years, we're in LA, me, you, and Gus, and we all go back to Long Beach, you know, for like fucking Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, because your family is already back there. Yeah. And we would hang out in your parents' basement. Yeah. Like those are some of my New Year's, right? Yeah, dude, those are some of my favorite times I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, that was a good time. I remember Erick was there, right?
Yeah. So Ghostemane was there one of the last times. But yeah, it was like at least a couple holiday breaks. Yeah. And it's unreal to be able to leave Los Angeles and go back to where we all grew up and sit in the basement. And I think like me and you were drinking beers. I don't think Gus was drinking beers. Maybe he was like smoking or something, but just to like, just be normal kids for a second. I mean, I'm a normal kid. You two weren't at the time. He especially wasn't, but just to like, I think we were like watching anime and like drinking beers and
just playing music. And
it was fucking like crazy that we all had that opportunity. Yeah,
I just stayed in that basement when I was back there.
Oh, really?
In the summer, yeah.
Dude, I love that basement.
Was it the summer? Yeah. Yeah, I was chilling in the basement a little bit. I didn't stay there, but because it was empty, my parents are renting it out now.
When you're like famous and you have a big major label album release, you should do the release party in that basement.
Oh my god!
You should like fly in press to the basement.
Kick out the fucking tenants, get my hotel. Yeah,
that'd be a real full circle moment.
That would be wild. That would be sick. Yeah, I like that little basement.
It's not a basement as so much as it's a mini house.
My dad was trying to convince me to move in there for a while, like before while I was still going to school. I remember I was back in New York for, I forget what time it was, but I was just visiting back in New York and I had no fucking money, didn't want to get a job. And he was like, well, if you don't want to get a job and you don't have money, then like just come move into the basement apartment and like you won't have to pay rent.
That's, it's a pretty sick offer.
And he was like, then you could get a job here locally. I could try to hook you up with something. And I was like, no,
you would have ended up in the union 1,000%, which is great for most people, but not for you who's pursuing a creative path.
Yeah.
Are your parents, they must be supportive now, right?
Yeah. My dad was at 3 cities on tour.
In Europe?
In Europe.
He came to Europe to watch you?
My uncle lives in Paris.
Oh, shit. Is that the same uncle I met like last Christmas break or whatever? He was with your dad and we were watching Black Mirror?
Yeah, Eddie.
He lives in Paris?
Yeah, he lives in Paris.
What does he do in Paris?
I don't know. Just chilling.
So if I ever want to go to Paris, I can hit up
Eddie.
Uncle Eddie and be like, listen,
in the French Alps.
Oh my God. Okay, let me just go schedule a trip right now.
Because he has like a girlfriend out there, so
he's doing life right.
Yeah.
Uncle Eddie from New York has a French girlfriend in the French Alps.
Oh my God.
But so your uncle and your dad were at 3 of your stops on tour?
Yeah. He went out when we were like halfway through the tour. He flew out to Paris to stay with my uncle, and then they met us in Cologne, Germany. Voice crack. But they met us in Cologne, Germany, and they came to Amsterdam as well. I think that was right after. And then we went to Belgium, Antwerp, for like this little like festival thing.
Yeah.
And then they didn't go to that. And then we ended in Paris, and they came to Paris too.
So what was that like to have your dad?
It was sick.
Watching you perform.
It was a crazy. It was a crazy experience. Like, I mean, he loved it. I think he loved it. It seemed like he did. But him and my uncle were just having a good time. Like,
yeah.
They were like, "This is wild." You know what I mean? Like.
And just them watching fans come up to you after the show and take selfies, and I'm sure you were signing autographs.
Yeah, it was crazy it was kind of like nerve-wracking at first, because we did a show in Cologne, the first place where they saw us, and we went to this venue, and it was like a last-minute venue change because it got like double booked at another venue or something. So it was like this shitty-ass fucking bar venue, and it was like, previously there was like 300 tickets sold for the other one or something, or like more than that, and then like at the fucking this one it was like a 200 capacity, like small ass place.
Yeah.
So like,
wow.
It was sold out right away because like all these other fans weren't able to come and shit. And we walk in, the sound system's from like 1965, and like it was so trash. Like the sound was so bad, and like we were just sound checking, and we were like, fuck, like getting so frustrated with these people. They had no idea what they were doing. And then like my dad and my uncle come in, and I'm like, oh fuck. Like me and Nolan were looking at each other. We were like, let's just fucking leave, bro. Like this venue is so bad. This is gonna be a bad show. And then my dad comes in. I was like, damn, like my dad and my uncle came all the way here. Like,
yeah,
we gotta just do it. And we were like, yeah. And like, bro, that was a crazy story, bro. That show, oh my God.
So what happened?
We were going out onto the stage. So we sound check and we make it sound basically as best as we can. And it was like, all right. But so we're up in the green room, and then like it comes time that we go on. So like we walk down, we like turn our mics on. I'm about to walk on stage. I'm like, check, nothing. Check, nothing. And it was like, go time already. Like, I'm standing in the crowd. I'm like, fuck, the mic isn't on. No, the mic isn't on. His mic's not working either. And so then the song drops, and I'm like, fuck. I like walk onto stage, and I like check, mic's off.
Oh my God.
And the song just starts playing. Or no, the song didn't play yet. We just walked onto stage first, and I'm like trying to speak into the mic, and it's just off. I'm just standing there, like all these fans like screaming and shit, and like we're like, I'm like, can you turn the fucking mic on, please? Like, we're like yelling at the sound dude.
Yeah.
A minute goes by, 2 minutes go by, 3 minutes go by.
Awkward.
So we start playing like intros music, like DJ set type shit.
Yeah.
Which is not how it's supposed to go.
Right.
Ruined the whole like surprise appeal of it. And so then we start playing and like the mics are still not on. And we're like, fuck it, play the first song. We'll do it with no mics. And we performed the first song with no mics.
Just the crowd singing it with you?
Yeah.
What's it feel like to have the crowd sing back your lyrics all the way across the fucking globe?
Fucking crazy. They don't even speak English.
That's so crazy.
Some of them at least.
Yeah,
And it was crazy. Like, yeah, so we performed that first song with no mic. And then, like, it stops after the first song. And I was like, all right, enough is enough. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is insane. Like, could not be worse. But it was still, like, the fans were loving it. Like, they didn't give a fuck.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like, I'm speaking into the mic and you barely hear it. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, turn it up. Like,
all right, guys, you got it.
Yeah, and like they still couldn't get it. Like it was still quiet. Like you could barely even hear it. Then finally they got it to the point where you could like hear it decent.
Oh my God.
And I was like, bro, this is so trash. Like,
so that was your first stop of the tour?
No, that was like towards the end of the tour.
Okay.
And which is shitty because we had our expectations like built up for like, the shows and shit already that happened. So we were like expecting the best, obviously. And then it just didn't work out well. We had a word with that sound guy after the show.
Yeah, though. I bet.
Yeah.
You were like, Uncle Eddie is here, sound guy. Don't you fucking know who Uncle Eddie is?
Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro.
Has your mom seen you perform?
No, she hasn't. But my dad hadn't before this tour.
Right.
But yeah, she hasn't seen me perform. She was like pretty excited about the whole tour though.
At what point did you start getting the tattoos? Because you're covered.
I started getting tattoos when I was like 18, I think. I got my first tattoo on my 18th birthday. There's one on my back. And then I just like started getting a sleeve.
Yeah, so who are all these people on your arm?
This is Bob Dylan. This is Elton John, my grandma, Gustav.
And that's a fresh tattoo.
Yes, it's a fresh tattoo. It's not done yet though, so I can't show it too much. I posted it on Instagram and I was like, gotta wait till it's finalized.
Yeah, and I would like to take a little bit of credit. I helped pick out the photo.
Yes, you did.
So who's on the other arm?
We got Jesus, my man Jesus.
Dude, it's such a good picture.
Jesus.
I mean, like, it's so well done.
And then we got Mother Mary, and then a skull, and a cherub angel, an angel of death, a bunch of shit. I'm not even religious though, to be honest with you.
So what inspired the Jesus and Mother Mary?
I just think like religion is like a really cool art, you know what I mean? Like I think it's like the craziest shit ever. Like think about it, like a book is written about like a story that no one really necessarily knows if it happens, but like millions and millions of people worship this shit and like live by it.
It's like sometimes people write books and then they make a movie out of it.
Yeah, it's a very powerful form.
And like that person who wrote the book is like, wow, I killed it. They made a movie out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But whoever wrote the Bible, I forget who it was.
I don't know.
They're like, wow.
Yeah, they're
100 million people.
They're like
revolve their lives around this.
Take it down a notch, guys.
And there's been a few movies, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just like, I don't know. I think I started getting tattoos just to like get them. But then I started really getting into them. I love tattoos, the whole culture about it.
But when did you get the neck tats?
Like 8 months ago.
That was like when the money started coming in. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna get these neck tats because I'm gonna be a musician for real.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, basically. I knew my like parents weren't gonna like it and shit, so I was like, I can't just be a bum like getting these, and they're just gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? So I have to show them that I'm at least doing something, and then I can get them, you know. Your
parents, who by the way, their real last name is Savage.
Yes.
Your last name is Savage.
Yes.
Even just last night, someone came up to you, I saw, and you had to show them your ID. It was a fan.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, my name is Savage.
They were just questioning me about it. They were like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. They were like, so you changed it. No, dude, I didn't fucking change it. You probably wouldn't be
No,
surprised.
I'm not shocked.
All the fans that say, "Oh, how do you go about changing your name? How did you change your name?" I'm like, dude, I didn't fucking change my name. Like, give me a break, dude. Like,
were you mad when 21 Savage came out, or
no,
did you feel
21
like
Savage?
Did you feel like a brotherhood with him?
Yeah. Like, shout out 21 Savage, bro. Like,
Dude, we gotta get a 21 Savage, Brennan Savage collab where you both just whisper into the mic. ASMR.
13 went up first. That song's hard.
It's amazing.
And yeah, when I heard 21 Savage, I was like, all right, like, yeah, this guy's it.
You were like, thankfully it's him and not someone who's
That's what
whack.
I'm saying. Like, thank God he's a fire.
Dude, it could have been someone so much worse.
It really
It could
good.
have been such a bad look for you.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Bro, sometimes it is a bad look. People think that I'm like name myself a savage or whatever.
it's, yeah.
I always thought that, bro. When I was trying to like think of like when I first started making music, I was like, what should my fucking name be? And I was like thinking of like these like stage names, and I was like, this shit sounds every single name sounds corny to me.
Like, what were some of those names?
I really don't remember. I like never really was like, oh, this would work. Like every single one I would think of, I'd be like, nah. I never called myself anything else, and then I was just like, fuck it, I'll just use my name.
So 2018 is almost over.
Yep.
We got like a month and a half or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's 2019 looking like for you?
Big things come in 2019.
I bet.
Yeah.
Did you have any specific goals?
Specific goals. I want to learn how to be more happy, like most of the time. That's a big one. And I want to like buy my mom and dad like a car or some shit, like a house.
I mean,
they both have their houses and shit. Like,
Right.
They're doing all right, but
You can send them on a vacation.
yeah, I want to do something. I want to like, yeah, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something for my family, something major for my family. I've tried to like support my family if I can, but
Yeah.
I want to do something major. Buy my brother like a sick ass car or some shit.
Dude, that would be sick. Because what, your brother's like 18 or 17 at this point?
Yeah, I think he's about to turn 17.
Damn, yeah.
I hope I got that right. His birthday is in January, so he's about to turn 17. I'm pretty sure.
Crazy.
It is crazy. He's still a little ass kid in my mind.
Dude, he is so funny. I think it was was it last New Year's when we were back in your basement and I riled you and your brother up to Slapbox?
Yeah. I remember that. That was funny.
I still feel bad about that because I got your brother a little too overly confident, I think. I have a film photo of that. Yeah, he smacked my punch. Oh my God. Well, dude, thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. It's been a long time in the making.
Thank you for having me, bro. This was a good time.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have a part 2 and a part 3 soon because we can talk for the next 10 hours.
Yeah, we should continue make a trilogy.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna set an alarm. Interview Brennan again in 6 months.
Perfect.
Live mascarilla, bitch, I'm dying mascarilla.
Live mascarilla, bitch, I'm dying mascarilla.